So Baker, like I said, we're a publicly quoted company. What that means is we are on the stock exchange, we have shareholders and we have a board, and we actually have a fantastic board. I make bold to say that my chairman is one of the best chairmen any company could have in the country now. Our chairman is Senator Daisy Danjuma. Before her was General Danjuma, the People's General. He was the chairman of the board. So we have a very fantastic board, and actually we just finished our AGM on June 2nd. And being a publicly quoted company, we are in the public domain. In terms of our products, like I said, we were a subsidiary of the UK company, so quality is something we do not play with. I'm sure if any of you ever had a headache, you know that M&B paracetamol is the best you can get. So M&B paracetamol is one of our flagship products, and many other products. You remember, we were like the originators of the very key known products like Nivaquin in chloroquine, and a whole lot of other products. Lily water, you're going to get a chance of drinking lily water. Those are some of our products, and many other. We have over 50 different products, and most of them are produced in the factory that I talked about. Like I said, we are a WHO certified facility, one of the best in sub-Saharan Africa. And like I said, the M&B paracetamol, the red one, is one of our very key products. You have things like Loxagil. I've talked about smart hands. We're going to probably talk about the hand sanitizers, because we were very key in helping the government in fighting COVID-19, Ebola, and the rest of them. And so many other products, which obviously you're going to see in our whole range as we go ahead. So, like I already said, Baker is the first pharmaceutical company in Nigeria. So what that means is we have pioneered first in so many areas in terms of products. Baker was actually the representative of Aventis at a time where Aventis was the vaccine producer for the country and all of that. So I personally, when I graduated from the university, used to come to this office to buy vaccines for our shop and many other companies. So we are partnered with governments in running immunization programs and all of that. And that is why when the federal government, Nigeria was producing vaccine up to a point. So the federal government wanted to reactivate vaccine production in the country, and they did a whole lot of search. And when they finished their search, Baker Pharmaceuticals was chosen as the company to partner with the government in producing vaccines. So as we speak, we are in a joint venture with the federal government of Nigeria in a company called BioVaccines. And hopefully before the end of this year, a groundbreaking ceremony is going to be done for BioVaccine, and we'll begin to produce our own vaccines in the country. So like I said, Baker has been a great innovator of so many things. For instance, when COVID came and the government, they discovered that chloroquine was efficacious against the COVID virus, and they were looking which company can help us do this. The NAFDAC reached out to Baker, and in a few short months we were able to come up with chloroquine that they started using in doing the studies and all of that. When Ebola hit in 2015, and we didn't know how to fight some of those pandemics, they reached out to Baker, and Baker quickly came up with smart hands, hand sanitizer. And that was why when COVID came, because we've already done it at Ebola, the government reached out to us again, and we produced hand sanitizer that helped the government to fight Ebola. So Baker is a pace setter in the pharmaceutical segment, not just in the fact that we were the first, but in the fact that when you talk of innovation, when you talk of research and development, when you talk of training, almost most of the pharmaceutical companies that you see their leaders, each time we discuss, they say, oh, we started our practice from your factory here. So that's what Baker brings. And we are doing that, making sure that we train Nigerians and we provide job opportunities for the country, and partner with governments to make sure that we address some of the medical needs of the country. But actually we know that many businesses have challenges. Baker is not, it's like every other company. We have quite a number of challenges. First, in infrastructure. Issues of power. Most of us depend on gas now, because public power sometimes does not meet our requirements. So, and we know the cost of diesel. So gas is what most companies use, and it's very, very, very expensive. Then we have the issue of the fact that most of the input materials are imported. In fact, for most companies, the materials you need, about 90% of our materials are imported. And we know the challenges of Forex. We know what Forex does. So companies will require Forex and all of these things to bring materials. And of course, the bottlenecks, and with COVID, timelines of bringing products into the country, all of this pose a lot of challenges to us as a company. But in the end, it's still better than importing finished product from outside of the country. So we only ask that probably as government continues to make efforts in supporting, and let me be honest here, let me be honest, with the COVID intervention fund, I like to say that many companies like us benefited from it. And it's a lot of help. For instance, yes, we can talk about importation, Forex and all of that, but another key critical challenge is if you go to source fund to run your operations and you get commercial loans at 21%, how much are you going to sell this product to be able to recover? And that is why when we get the kind of intervention that we got during the COVID relief, it's a whole lot of benefit. When you get at rates of 9%, and CBN even did it, came back to say we could pay 5% until about 3 years. So I must say that those are the kinds of support that companies like us require from government, and it goes a long way in helping. So yes, things like Forex could be a challenge, and we still believe that with CBN helping in that area, companies like us can begin to provide services for the country, because we know purchasing power is actually very low right now. I did say before that obviously being the first pharmaceutical company, many people get trained through here. And the challenges you have is when you do not have that affiliation with the parent company like we had before in the UK, you could have challenges with resources. But what we have done internally is to begin to build capacity locally. And especially when I got in here, you find out that companies like us, technical partnership could be a major challenge, where yes, you're a local company, but you still depend on expatriates. So what I have said is we need to develop local capacity. So what we're doing now is, instead of having expatriates do some of the critical work, I mean, we have people who are well educated, pharmacists and all of that. We have doctors in the research institutes. So we are now making efforts to send our people to go out there, learn how to do these things, come back, and we use Nigerians. So as I speak, in my formulation and development, there is no expatriate there. We're trying to reduce the number of expatriates we use to do our work. We are also partnering with research institutes. The Nigerian Institute for Pharmaceutical Research is one of those institutes, and we have many of these institutes in the country. We know that governments sometimes find it difficult to sustain this research institute. So as a company, we are partnering with them in doing research. And I'll tell you something. One of the critical products that you're probably going to see when you go through our portfolio is what we call Niclovix. Niclovix is a product that was designed and researched by the Nigerian Institute for Pharmaceutical Research in Abuja. And that product can only be done by Nigerians because it's for sickle cell. Sickle cell is a major problem in a country like Nigeria. Europeans don't have so much of issues of sickle cell. So NIPRID did that research, and they found that the product is effective. So me and Baker came into partnership with them to develop that product and commercialize it. And as I speak to you, the fund we got from the intervention fund through CBN, we dedicated a significant proportion of that fund to build a herbal facility, a herbal factory, because of that research that was done by NIPRID. So what we're doing, we're encouraging our professors in our universities. So instead of going abroad and running all over the place, me and Baker is encouraging our research institute to get active. So we sell the product and they get royalties. And we're doing all of that. So currently, we are one of the first companies to build a herbal facility. And that herbal facility in our ultra-modern facility in Ota means that almost 100% of what you need to produce Niclovix is produced from Nigeria here. So this same issue of having to import everything, we are addressing it by doing backward integration. So increased local capacity, and like I said, we are expanding our operations. So some of the products that we're importing from outside, we're producing them in our facility right now. As we speak, We're also making investment in another very massive water facility, end to end, from bottle blowing to producing our own water. These are some of the things that we're doing, and that is why we're saying when we get the kind of support that we get from government, it helps a whole lot. I like to tell you that in spite of the COVID and everything, Baker is one of the companies that didn't sack a staff. Instead, we're recruiting more people because, like you said, we're producing sanitizers, we're making donations to IDP camps and all of that. So our operations kept running, and these are some of the things we bring to help in the Nigerian economy. So, like I said, we partner with quite a number of companies. I already talked about our partnership with the federal government in the joint venture of bio-vaccines to make sure that we start manufacturing vaccine in the country. Apart from that, I did talk about our partnership with research institutes like NIPRIT and a couple of other universities. Right now, there's another product that will soon come into commercialization through our partnership with University of Benin Teaching Hospital. A professor there has also come up with something that is innovative. You know about bitter leaf. So bitter leaf is something we eat, but it's also a medicinal product. So there's a new product that has been designed and by the professors in University of Benin, and we are going to commercialize that product. Currently, it's called Edotide. It's from bitter leaf. On the international space, as a result of our research into vaccines, we partner with many international organizations like Serum Institute in India and the Biopharma in Indonesia. Because these are the technology partners that understand how to produce vaccine. We're working with them to make sure that when we are ready after the groundbreaking, we'll be able to have the capacity development we need to be able to produce vaccines. And right now, Baker is a contract manufacturer of choice. So what this means is most of the companies that have been importing finished goods from outside of the country, they now produce those products with us. One of them is the multinational company Sanofi Aventis. The flagship product of Sanofi Aventis, Flagyl, is being made by us in our facility there. And there are many other companies that we're doing contract manufacturing for. Like I said, we have a huge capacity. We are barely doing 50% of the capacity of the factory we have. So we encourage companies, instead of you being on the queue to get Forex, to go and import 2 containers from outside of the country, we can make it for you in our factory here. And we are doing that. There are quite a number of companies that we do contract manufacturing for. Some other companies like Medicine Sans Frontiers, many multilateral organizations who do supplies, bulk supplies to governments, both within Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. These products we produce for them in our factory. So they send their technical team, they look at our factory, and because we are WHO certified, they can trust us. So we have quite a robust partnership with companies that are coming in from the United States, from the UK, and all of that. We produce their products here, and like I said, we provide jobs for our people, and they reduce our dependence on expatriate work. Okay, obviously, as a company like us, CSR is a key aspect of what we do, and our CSR activities are actually structured in different forms. We pay a lot of attention to healthcare, environment, security. So these are some of the areas where our CSRs are focused. On healthcare, for instance, of course, that's our space. So because it's our space, we do quite a bit with organizations like schools. So Baker chose a number of schools where we looked at public schools, some of them in Yaba and in Ikeja. We looked at some of these schools and we looked at what they needed. And we found that in some of these schools there were no sick bays. And you can imagine kids are playing and there's an injury, and before you start taking the person to the hospital. So Baker decided to build sick bays in 3 schools. So what we do is they give us a location, we look at it, we remodel it, build a sick bay, put beds there. They recruit a nurse so that if there's an issue, they'll be able to attend to that, and we'll maintain those sick bays. Another thing that we did, which we started in Anambra State, we looked at some of the public hospitals, and of course you will see in some of these places, the children ward, when you're bringing children to the hospital, the fear of injection sometimes make them very, concerned. So what we did was, in some of these hospitals, we went to the children's ward and we remodeled it, and we put their cartoon characters. So when a child is coming to the hospital, they are seeing their cartoon heroes, their superheroes, and all of that. So the fear of injection is not there, and doctors can attend to them. And they have things to play with and all of that, all those Teletubby kinds of things and all of that. So the children, yes, it's a hospital, but they feel a little bit at home. So we do a couple of things like that in the area of our CSR. Like I said, we work in health and the environment. We actually partner with the Lagos State government in their themes agenda. We looked at their themes agenda and thought of where we could come in. And we saw that environment is very, very important, maintaining the environment and all of that. As you drove into this place, you came through Obakran. And we were thinking of how can we partner with the Lagos State government. And you saw in the morning, there are people that sweep that road. So we adopted one side of Obakran. So what happens is, we'll kit the people that sweep the road, we'll pay their salaries. So every month, we'll make sure that we'll pay the salaries of the people that maintain the environment. If you're coming, it's actually nice in the morning when you see them with their kit and May and Baker logo at the back. It actually looks very good. So we do that. Then in this area, this is called, there's a whole lot of companies here. The police post that oversees this place is called the Man Center. A few years ago, we discovered that, in the evenings when you would have closed work, you require the police to be able to, parade displays against hoodlums and all of that. But we discovered that the vehicle they used for patrol was bad. You can imagine you need to patrol and the vehicle breaks down and all of that. May and Baker observed that and we decided to partner with the police post. So May and Baker decided to donate a Hilux truck to the Man Center police post. And we did that. They really appreciated it. But while we were making that donation, we also looked around and we saw that there were some other things that were lacking. For instance, they didn't have a first aid box. So from that day, we decided to put a first aid box in that police post and some other police posts. So every year, they give us a list of what they need for the first aid box, and we'll fill it up. And like I said, we've also partnered with other NGOs to make a lot of drug donations, like the IDP camps. It was really very challenging, and May and Baker came to help in those ID camps by making drug donations. We currently partner with Lagos State government, Ogun State government. Actually, the First Lady of Ogun State, every year they do all these health outreaches. May and Baker is a significant partner in that, and we are glad to do that. And we do it for many other states. In the Egusi community, where our factory is, we also noticed, you know how it is, our factory was opened, the president came, and many dignitaries came, and the neighborhoods, they watched and all of that. Then we found that in the night, the only light you see is from our factory. And we asked questions, and we discovered that there was no transformer in the whole of the Egusi community. So May and Baker had to work with NEPA. We put in a 5,000 kVA transformer to make sure that the community has light when it's night. And since then, we've been working with the association to make sure that whatever is lacking in the community, we'll help them with it. The Oba of that place, they will know us very well now. We will help to maintain the road and render some other services that they require. And I mentioned a little bit about COVID before. Actually, before COVID came, May and Baker already had an experience, because you remember in 2015, Ebola came into Nigeria. And when Ebola came, we had not gotten used to managing pandemics, and they were confused. But they reached out to May and Baker, and May and Baker was able to come up on a very short notice with hand sanitizers. And you remember that before Ebola, we never quite knew anything about hand sanitizers. We came out with Smart Hands hand sanitizer, and it was very instrumental in fighting Ebola. You remember that Lagos State was very much involved in making sure that Ebola was arrested. So with that experience, when COVID came and there were challenges of how to fight it, because we already had hand sanitizers, we were able to mass produce hand sanitizers to help not just in Lagos but across the country. As I speak, the Victim Support Fund, which was established by the federal government, and of course you know is chaired by General Danjuma, was able to produce through Baker hundreds of thousands of packs of hand sanitizer, which was supplied to all the states in the federation. So we were quite busy during COVID to different states of all the states of the country, making sure that hand sanitizers got around, and it was instrumental in making sure that Nigeria did not die like they predicted, that would be falling and dying on the street. Apart from that, they found also that chloroquine was going to be effective, and NAFDAC decided it's good to do a research on it. And they looked, who can we reach out to? Because you know, chloroquine was already banned for use in anti-malaria. But now that there was a need for chloroquine, most companies that were producing chloroquine had stopped producing. Those that were importing it had stopped. But they remembered that Baker was a significant player because of our Nivaquine, and they reached out to us and said, can you do this? And in a short period, we were able to produce chloroquine, which NAFDAC was able to use to start the study both in Nigeria and across the country. And we are constantly glad to partner with organizations, state, federal government. Like I said, we and the federal government are tied together in making sure that we produce vaccine. And that's the next step that Nigeria needs to go. I believe a country like this, Africa depends on us. And if we are not yet producing vaccine with what happened in COVID, who knows what is coming next? I think that's the way to go. And Baker as a company, were committed to making sure that this country will not continue to depend on other countries. I know there were a whole lot of misconceptions around COVID and all of that, but I like to tell you that as a company, we believe that COVID-19 was not just a scam. It was a real virus. We know how viruses work. But the important thing is, there are things we could use to fight COVID-19. For instance, I know it's been relaxed a little bit, but face mask was very instrumental in fighting COVID-19. Of course, coupled with our smart hands, like I talked about. Sanitize yourself. So what we had then was things like this was to use to sanitize offices because they were sprayed. But we also had these individual ones that individuals could use, just put it, sanitize yourself and all of that, wear your face mask. And let's be honest, if you listen to the news, it's coming up again across the world, in Europe and the US. Of course, China has been on lockdown. So let's not let down our guards. And I like to encourage Nigerians to take the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I've taken full dose of the vaccine. Many other people have taken it. They were saying, "Oh, you're going to die." Please, let's not listen to all of those. Medicine is medicine and all of that. So it's not speculation. Let's be careful. Let's use our face mask when we can, and let's use things like hand sanitizer and all of that. And please take the vaccine. It's important. I like to say that Baker, as a company, as our vision is, we want to be a leading brand in sub-Saharan Africa. Like I said, our legacy of quality, we have continued to maintain it right from the origin. And everybody that knows us knows the quality of our products. But to fulfill our vision, Baker is expanding our operations. Like I said, we just introduced some new lines to make sure that contract manufacturing, other companies that depend on us, they get their products when they need it. We are also committed to backward integration. We are hoping that in a few short years, some of these things that we're importing from outside, some of the raw materials we're importing from outside, we'll be able to produce them locally. So not only are we expanding in the product range, we're also expanding in vaccine production, we're expanding in the area of API production and all of that, and our reach needs to expand. So before the end of this year, we are going to be registering some of our products in some other countries outside of Nigeria. The truth is, we want to make sure that if something like COVID happens again, we are not going to depend on Asian countries or other countries to meet the needs of Nigerians. I like to tell you, Baker is here to make sure that the quality of life of Nigerians is maintained, not just for a few, but for all lives, which is our mission. So having said all of that, I know that the country has done well, especially with fighting COVID, but there is a whole lot that we can do. There is a lot that we can do as organizations. There is a lot that we can do as individuals. And I'm calling on us, as the CEO of this company, I'm calling on us to partner as much as possible with our state government, with the federal government, in making sure that the health needs of the country is addressed. And like I said, we already have a very good partnership with the federal government in bio-vaccines, trying to make sure that we produce vaccine for the country and every other area. So I'm encouraging other companies, to also follow suit, both in our CSR activities and the other things we do to support the government, to make sure that the vision of this government in making sure that health needs of Nigerians is addressed, is attained. So I will encourage other companies to please do the same. Thank you.